Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I'm an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make these videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. If you would like to know more about my knitting patterns, please check in the description below, and there you will find a link to my Ravelry designer page where you can browse images of all the patterns that I have available and possibly purchase one for yourself. If you decide you want to knit up one of my patterns, or if you have some of my patterns you've already knit up, I'd love to hear about it. You can either talk in the comments below or check in the description, and you will find a link to my Facebook page, where it's a group, my Facebook group, where we can chat about, you can continue the conversation about the subject of this or show off pictures of a pattern you've knit up. I would love to hear you over there. Now, today what I have for you is a tutorial on how to place and set up for an afterthought heel. Now, an afterthought heel is a technique for making a heel in a sock that allows you, now this is a new pattern I've been working on and hopefully I'm releasing it this week. And what it is this is a toe up sock. So you start at the toe and you knit up and then you place waste yarn and then you keep on knitting so you can finish the whole tube. You come back later, take out the waste yarn, and you knit your heel as an afterthought. Hence, it's called the afterthought heel. And what I have done is, in the process of making my second sock, I have videoed me placing the waste yarn, so you can see how to do that, and then picking up the stitches and removing the waste yarn so that you can see how to do those two steps, just in case they are a little bit confusing. Now, what's really cool is you can see, here we go, here's this and this. Now, if you were going to be doing a cuff down, you would knit your cuff, come down, place your waste yarn, and then come down, and then you knit a top down toe and graft at the bottom. And essentially what you're doing is knitting a second toe where your heel goes. And you can see, if I fold this over and show you this, this is the heel, and this is the toe. See? They're the same thing. So they look the same, and so it's just a two toes for your sock. And coming up, you will see. Now, I wanted to mention real quick that was some distance between the two recordings because obviously I had to place the waste yarn and then knit this whole tube. And in between that time, I acquired a itchy thing on my hands, and I have spots, and I tried to cover them up with Band-Aids so they wouldn't look so horrible, but I want to apologize in advance for the appearance of my hands in part of this video, but I wanted to get the video done in time for the sock pattern to be released. It's called the Sandpiper Stocks. Look for it soon. And of course, if you're watching this later after the pattern's released, there'll be a link in the description below to the sock. So here comes the tutorial. When you place your waste yarn for your afterthought heel, one of the things you need to think about is the actual waste yarn you're using. You want to make sure it is a drastically different color than any of the yarns you're using, so it's easy to spot. And I personally prefer to use a mercerized cotton because it's not grabby, it's smooth, and it just slides right out, and it's easy to work with, easy to see. So I have already worked across the front of my sock. I worked the first 31 stitches in pattern. Now, we're on the back of the sock and ready to place the waste yarn for the afterthought heel. So, let me get all this stuff out of the background so you can see what you're doing. Mr. Yarn goes way back there. Here's just a little tail, no big deal. Now, it's pretty simple. You just knit across your stitches with the waste yarn. Simple as that. Now that I've knit across the stitches with the waste yarn, You drop your waste yarn, and I'm going to cut this, leaving a tail. You take your, I'm going to keep it in my hand because just to provide tension for the first stitch. Take your needle in your left hand and slip those stitches that you just made back to, now you can drop that, the left hand needle. Oops, look at there. I dropped that stitch. All I've got to do is stick my needle in it, pick that up, loop him over, pick up my waste yarn, loop him over, slip him over. He's right back where he's supposed to be. Now, all of those waste stitches are on my left-hand needle again, and I can pick up the yarn, that my actual working yarn. Right needle again, and simply knit across the waste yarn using your real yarn. And now we are ready to proceed with the next round of the sock and do the leg part. See? This is where it's going to go. That'll be the next step I show. I have finished all the way up to the top, and now we are ready to pick up the waste yarn and pick up the stitches around the waste yarn that we had put in. Now, you want to hold your sock with the toe at the bottom and like this, so it's oriented like this. And I'm going to start, because this is the direction we knit it, right? So this is the direction I like to work it. So we find where we started, and there you can see where the waste yarn was put in. Now, what you have to do is look at the stitch that the waste yarn goes into. See him right here below here? Right there. Now, if you look at the shape of your stitch, this is your knit stitch. This is the front leg. It is what you want in front. So you want to pick up that front leg with your needle. And then you trace it around. And luckily, since we're doing stripes, it's fairly easy to see. And then you pick up the front leg of the next one. And the front leg of the next one. And then the front leg of the next one. See how that's happening? So you just continue all the way across, picking up the front legs of each stitch that the waste yarn was worked into. Now we're here and we're at that last stitch. So we're going to pick up him too, right? There we go. And let's see how many stitches we've picked up. You can see I'm arranging them all along my needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 32. Okay, we have 32 there. Now I pulled it through, see? Pulled it through, and now all of those stitches are mounted correctly on my cable. You then flip it upside down. Now we're going to pick up along the other side. We find where the stitches, see now here, he is here. So we're going to start where this comes out, and again pick up that the front leg. There it is. Where is it? Let's look at it carefully. Where is it? There it is. Okay. See right there it is? I had to go in. I went in through this blue stitch. See, it made it come out right there. So pick that one up. Oops, I went off center. There it is. See? Now, pick up the right leg, the front leg of each of these. This side is a little trickier. I apologize for the state of this thumbnail. I broke it off. Look at that guy. He's hiding from me. Get in. There we go. We're at the end. And we're going to push that through. It's a little hard. I'm going to pull it. Now, see how many we got on this side. So we had 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 65, and that is exactly how many I wanted. Now, that is what I've done is I've actually picked up 2 extra stitches. I picked it up here, and that one that we had such a hard time with over here, that was an extra stitch also. So that is what we want in the total, because these extra stitches on either side are going to help you close down the edge. But I looked at my thing and 65 is how many I'm supposed to have. Now I'm going to pull this all the way out to give myself a little wiggle room in here to work. And now the next thing we have to do is pull out this waste yarn. So I'm going to take the tip of my needle and pull him out like that. And then you go to the next one. Come here, buddy. And pull it out. I'm just sticking it under this first leg. And this is where the mercerized cotton really helps, because it's slick and it doesn't grab, it just zooms right out. Whereas if you're working with wool, on wool, sometimes it doesn't want to come out. I believe that some people cut their waste yarn out. I'm not comfortable getting scissors that close. You know what? This end's getting super long. I'm going to flip him over. Looky here. It doesn't matter which end you start pulling from. So I'm going to stick him in here. Start pulling there. See? Works just fine. Why is he not coming? There we go. Because I was pulling on the wrong edge. There we go. ready to work in the round. See, we have all our stitches are lined up. They're all mounted correctly. There's a little bit of fuzz left over from the waste yarn. Oops, I'm getting awfully close to my camera, aren't I? There's a little fuzz weight left over from the waste yarn. See how it's kind of stuck in them together? But all I got to do is pull that apart. We're good to go. And now you can see how it's going to become a sock. Doop. I hope you found that tutorial enlightening. I hope it cleared up any questions you might have about how you set up to do an afterthought heel. If you like this video, please click the like button, give it the thumbs up. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select notifications. Thank you so much.